Ra speaks. See through all eyes. Hear through all ears. Be the voice. Be a bee. Pollinate. Feel the beauty. See the beauty. Be the beauty. Wrapped in supreme happiness with maximum efficiency, minimum effort. The highest good of all concerned. The law of one. Shine, you diamonds, shine.
There was a final question I had not touched on that I got, and this coincides with tonight's galactalizing. This is the question: when you talked to the Dracos and Reptilians into breaking their contract with the Cabal, making their black magic rituals meaningless, did that also stop the Orion Reptilians from bothering us? Ra in 1981 spoke often of the problems with them. And I had encountered this before, and I knew the differences between normal Draco and these other bigger reptilians. And I neglected to add that in because I never really saw a difference. Well, there is a large difference. For one, normal draconians, they look very crocodilian, sometimes with a pushed-in face a little more, sometimes very thick armored scales, sometimes smoother look, and then some of them are more human-looking. But these guys, these look more like the aliens from the movie Alien. And they have this long, elongated skull that goes back. And I found out why. I noticed some similarities. This has to do with the work of like David Icke, where he believed that the Anunnaki were all reptilians, and of course David Wilcock believes they're all mammalian, they're primate like. And well, I came across this. I mentioned this on the Candy Shop show last time I was on there briefly. We touched on this transmutative virus technology and such. Well, what I came to discover, and I believe I mentioned it there too, was that in the wars between the Anunnaki and the Draco, a new species ended up being formed because the Draco, they played kind of dirty, and they turned the Anunnaki's thoughts against them, for one, like what happened to, like what I mentioned earlier with the manifestation abilities being flipped, inverted in on us. And then the next stage after that was to turn them into reptilians, so that they were seeing them more as equals. And what happened to several of the Orions at that time, and I had always wondered why I had seen several of them as reptilians, like David Icke proposed, was because of a form of a transmutative virus. So I nickname it the vampire virus. And because that's what pops up in the mythology is one person being turned into a vampire because of a bite. Well, they get in the back of the head and they put this virus into the brain, and then they started to shapeshift into these reptilian forms. Well, over time, I'm going to segue a little bit. I learned how many months ago. This was even before I knew about the law of one or anything like that. Beings would come to me saying, "I'm not in my original form. Would you please assist me?" And I would just usually send love, light, energy at them and focus on what their original form was. And they would often turn back into the form they were. Like, I even came across Medusa, and she had the whole snake hair thing going on and everything. And I focus that energy on her, and she turned into a woman, a regular-looking woman. And I had even gotten Athena's permission to undo that, because it was Athena, that, according to the mythology, that actually had done it to her to begin with. And it was a technique that she showed me, but the reverse of that. Not turning somebody into something they're not, but reversing the process. And while I've been sitting here, to get back on track here, while I've been sitting here, there has been an Orion reptilian that showed up by the name of Lysis. And I will read to you what I just jotted down. I saw him come in. I said, "Who are you?" And he says, "Human, my name is Lysis, and I am an Orion reptilian, and I have a few things to say about my kind agreeing to your little contract. I must say to you that I am in total agreement with you. But now, about how do we change back to our original forms? Tell me, please." It is simple, Lysis. The law of one and love energy. Yes, good. And he says, "Have your friends do it, haha. Then I can return to my world as a whole man." And I said, "All right, Lysis, I will." So what I'm going to do is I am now looking at him. I'll describe him a little bit before we change him back. He is basically elongated skull. I would say about roughly 10 feet tall, 12 feet tall. That was just corrected. Very draconian features with the vertical eye slit. Not necessarily crocodilian, but more pushed in features, flatter face, green in color, green and brown in color, with a little bit of black in there, and very lanky, very scaly, and let me see. Yeah, and he is actually okay. He's trying to get me to stay on target versus how he looks now. So he's showing me in his head how he used to look. And I'm seeing this appearance of this man, Anunnaki, mammalian in origin instead, tan skin color, white robe, has an elongated skull. It looks like he was a priest of some sort at the time of his conversion to an Orion reptilian. So I've done this before. There are beings that I've called bound beings, where they're in one form or another. Like I ran into a race of reptilians called the Timnor, who had been bound in a more grotesque, zombie-esque form because of something that happened to them years ago with bonding to human energy, and I had to switch them back, and they're doing fine now. So I am going to do the same thing here with Lysis, but as I learned with my work with the Timnor, I'm going to bind them all at once. And with the law of one in play now, I'm seeing the law of one and light energy stemming as a chain around Lysis. Not necessarily a metal chain, but more of a fluidic energy or water-like chain. And I'm seeing it binding every Orion reptilian out there, since they did not start out in that form. And it's going from one to another, into a whole group of them. I'm seeing thousands of them that were affected. And so it's no wonder that people thought the Anunnaki were reptilian when they are not. And since this is a remnant of an old war, and we are here to erase these negative findings, this war no longer exists. This remnant is going to be gone forever. So I'm continuing to bind all of them, and I'm tracing them back to a moon, it looks like, in the Orion star system. It looks like they were imprisoned there. The other Anunnaki put them there. Not, imprisoned's the wrong word. Quarantined there because they didn't know how to repair them. So we're just going to repair them. I'm going to use the bindings that are around this planet. I'm seeing almost like a piece of technology preventing them from leaving. And they were put there, not necessarily forgotten, because I see other Anunnaki vessels nearby patrolling the area. And I can see other Anunnaki people, like soldiers and stuff, looking down at this, wondering if they can help them. So I'm going to telepathically communicate with the captains of and the pilots of these vessels too. And I'm showing them what I'm doing, and using his look as this captain I'm looking at as a template for how they're supposed to look. And I'm seeing him nodding his head yes, and he's smiling and he's approving, and he's actually going to assist with this. I'm showing him that symbol. I'm showing the loved one symbol, excuse me. I'm showing him what I'm doing, and this captain. Okay, he corrected me. He says he's not a captain, he's a gunner. And he looks like he's in a different time skew altogether. But he's not giving me his name at the moment. He's too focused on what we're doing. So he's loading into this gun that he's at. And I've seen this type of weapon before. It's used in planet seeding as well as defense. He's loading in these little pellets that are normally meant for seeding a world, and he's asking me to give him my hands, and he's placing my hands on this gun, and to infuse these pellets that have some kind of transmutative virus in them, but it's the opposite. And he goes, "This will affect them all at once, since I've bound them all in energy like a soul group." This is only the first stage, so I assume they are going to go to the Orion souls next. But he's telling me one thing at a time. So I'm going to take this. He's telling me to shoot this down onto the planet. So that's what I just did. And I'm seeing the atmosphere of this planet change, and I'm seeing the people there ridding themselves of the foreign reptilian DNA, and they're changing back into what they're supposed to be, which are Anunnaki. And I can see it tracing back all the way to Lysis, who is sitting next to me, and he is changing right in front of me. I can see the scales just kind of melting away, and I can see he's in an in-between stage where he's going back and forth, and from one to the other. And I can see this light kind of spilling through him and in him, kind of like a helix, double helix going through him and around him. And it is actually reversing what the Draco did to them. And I can see Lysis is here. I want to see if that's actually his real name or if that was the reptilian name he took. Okay, it's his actual name. He didn't give me a pseudonym. And he's sitting on the floor at the moment, and he's sobbing. And he's saying thank you over and over again. And now there is another stage that I'm going to initiate here. I'm calling in the Orion souls to bring these beings into their soul group. And now that these particular Orion souls are merged with the Ra group, this should be interesting. So I'm asking Lysis to go with them. I can see both Orion souls and blue avians, and avians of other kinds coming in and picking him up and kind of brushing him off. And he's happy to be back in the form that he's in. And they're asking him, they're touching foreheads with him, and they're asking him if he wants to be part of the Orion souls. And he's shaking his head yes. And he's melting into like an energy form, kind of turning. I can see these golden particles that are surrounding him, and he's kind of particleizing. He's kind of shocked at it because he had been in the other form for so long. and now it's going over to the other ones. They're going to all the other ones on this other moon, this greenish moon. It doesn't look greenish brown anymore. It is more of a blue, and looks kind of like a miniature Earth now. And that piece of technology that was confining them there is disintegrating and going off into space. And then now I'm seeing dozens of them going up, ascending to meet the Orion souls. And I can see the gunner of this ship is just he's just kind of looking at me, kind of all. He's smiling, but he's more like stunned. And he said he never expected a human to focus on this problem. And now
leave it to Chris. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and he's saying look, and now they're all going with the Orion souls, and I can hear them now. They're saying, thank you for bringing our lost brothers back to us. They were lost to us for 1,002/3 years. The wars are now officially disintegrated and rescinded. This war is gone forever.
Chris?
Chris?
It's
yes.
It's Marianne.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you so much. I could feel the changes. Thank you so much. And there is one thing that I would like you to look at, though, of beings that were changed into machines.
Yes, I've worked with this before too. It's the same sort of
it is
transmutative thing. Yeah.
And that, of course, the law of one has taken care of that. I'm almost in tears. This is amazing, and I've worked on this, but not on this level. And thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The gunner that's on that ship wanted to actually speak to you directly. He says he's one of your teachers.
Yeah, the name's familiar.
I haven't. He won't tell me his name, but he just says he's one of your teachers.
Yeah, and the energy was. I felt the energy, and thank you so much, and the gunner, I know who he is. Thank you.
Thank you,
Marianne. I appreciate that.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now, when they say this war is done forever, just for an overview, what is this war they're talking about? The war that the Draconians and
so long
and
ago.
Reptilians? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, no, Draconian and Reptilian are pretty much the same. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're not. Now, in the case of the Orion Reptilians, I suppose you could call them Draco, since their origin lied with them. See, the rundown of this was during the old war times, like where all these factions were fighting each other, like when you heard the stories of the Anunnaki taking slaves to build things and whatnot. What had happened was, long before that, the Anunnaki and the Draco butted heads, and the Draco decided one day that they were gonna play dirty and, like I said, infect them with this transmutated virus. And like you said, Marianne, they did it mechanically as well. I ran across this on the Candy Shop show this past Wednesday. The movie Terminator Salvation came to mind. But in that war, those beings had been in that form for so long. And when I saw that question pop up about Orion Reptilian, and then the Ross saying it was spoke of problems with them, meaning not necessarily from them, but with them. And meaning that they were not in their proper form. So that was the Ra basically telling me, even though it was through another resource, they were telling me that it needed to be corrected now that I was at a stage where that I could transform them back. And but these wars, saying the wars were finally over, meaning that was the last remnant of that time frame. And yeah, that's what they were saying.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful questions. Thanks for the questions, you guys. That prompted this, what Chris just did. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. And by the way, tonight's reference for the recorded line, you can call by phone and listen to all these calls, is 285-pound. The recorded line is 209-255-1099. 883267-pound. And by the way, they're changing the conference line number, although last time they changed it. You could still call in on the 209-255-1000 number. But October 6th, then as you call in, it gives you the new number. So be sure to jot that down. And to hear live the Draconian Reptilian, what just transpired, we described an outline on this call tonight. To hear the live of that, of our brothers and sisters in the call, that would be Raw Speaks, number 6. That's up on the YouTube. And the other show to follow up on that is the Candy Shop Show, number 221. And that's up on the YouTube, too. Okay, can we go forth to the next thing, Chris?
Well,
Yes,
Elizabeth,
sure.
this is Candy, and thank you so much for all of that. And Christopher, will you be on the Candy Shop Show this coming Wednesday?
Yes, I will.
Wonderful. Well, that's September 23rd. We'll have a lot to talk about. So everybody, tune in. We'll start an hour later than we did tonight, and you know the number, 559-546-1700. Thank you so much.
And the PIN number for that is 718-pound.
Yeah. And what Chris has done tonight is just a miracle. I mean, a million-year war finished. Wow.
I see what the Diamonds Network is doing, and Chris and all of us, is we're taking this war down in the spiritual realm, and then it manifests in the physical realm. Glory to God. Woohoo! Yay! Chris, I told you you're Santa Claus. Ho, 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 ho. What did I want to... I don't... Okay, so let's do some Galactawise, and what do you think, Chris?
All right. We'll see who...
I want to call in beings that belong to alliances, the good guy alliances. There's many alliances out there, mixed with star beings and humans, or just star beings. I want to call any of those in, and if they wanted to give a mainstream news update, what's going on with the world, what we talked about tonight, or anything else, want to give us a heads up, encouragement, empowerment, inspiration, that we're on the right track, here on Diamonds Network at least, and come on in, or anybody else.
Yeah, and as you were talking, there was a new person comes in. I mistook him for Tyler because he looks very similar, very, very similar. And he's wearing instead of a red uniform, he's wearing a blue one, and he has a silver sash across his chest, like Tyler wears red with a gold sash. And so I'm assuming it's a very similar council, and just a different color uniform. And I'll see what his name is. It says, oh, okay. I think I know who this is. Oh, all right. I know exactly who this is. He says his name is Sebastian. And I'm asking him.
Hi,
if he's the
Sebastian.
same Sebastian.
Namaste.
I'm asking
Love
him
you.
if he's the same one that I've encountered before. Yep, and he is the same one. He he is from the planet Lanulos, and you've heard me mention that on many occasions. He is the person that was considered to be Saint Sebastian in history, and I've never seen him in this uniform. Normally, he's wearing a bluish grayish cloak, but he's wearing a blue uniform, very similar to Tyler's. So this tells me that Tyler could also be of Lanulos. I will have to ask him at some point, but I'm not seeing him at the moment.
Maybe Chris came in for Tyler, because I thought to ask for Tyler too, but I asked a different way, so I've had Tyler on my mind too. Maybe he's going to vouch for Tyler tonight. Who knows?
Yeah, Sebastian said Tyler's not here at the moment. He's busy. So Sebastian came in his stead. So let's see.
I want to thank Tyler. Thank you, Tyler, for. I know you're busy, but you honored us and sent somebody else. I love you. You're great. And Sebastian, you are too.
Yeah, and he's nodding. He's saying thank you, and he's confirming my suspicions about Tyler and his faction. They are indeed from planet Lanulos. Jerry will be very happy to know that. He is from there as well. So let me see here. I'm going to see what Sebastian came to say. And he says, he's talking about what just happened with the Orion reptilians that no longer exist. They are as they were prior. And he says, for that, I'm going to try to repeat verbatim what he's saying here. For that to occur is what you would call a miracle. The thoughts of those beings, the way they were not in congruency with that of the oneness that is supposed to exist, which does exist. The thoughts they were thinking were not their own. Now their thoughts are their own again, and so can humanity's thoughts be their own again, now that the Draconians are gone.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. We prayed the highest good of all concerned for our thoughts too, remember? That prayer just a little bit of, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and he's saying he is here to assist in any way he can with the thoughts of people. He says even though his definition of what people call him as a saint is different, meaning, what his mission statement is. He says at one time his mission statement was a little different, but now it is not. It is different, excuse me. It is not the same, is what he's saying. He is here to help with thoughts and thought-based manifestations, inward and outwardly. And in that respect, then Tyler is here to help with vibrational raising in vibration, meaning like when he was speaking about the love revolution and people walking past the tanks and whatnot in the previous episodes. It's labeled the love revolution on the YouTube, but he's referring briefly to that, and he's saying he will teach how to take control of our own thoughts. Tyler will teach people how to not exist in thought. And that's what he's doing at the moment. And a quick little note, I found out Tyler is indeed Pinar himself. Like with Apha and Pinar, what David Wilcock brought up. Tyler is Pinar.
Right.
And he told me what he was doing, he was trying to get me to trust my intuition. And I did ask him, I said, which is it? Are you Tyler or Pinar? And he just said, yes. I'm like, well, which one is it? He just said, yes. I'm like, okay, that's his sense of humor. So
that's funny, because I was thinking of, like I just said, I was going to think of calling Tyler in, but I didn't. I called those groups in. So he's tricking both of us. I mean, tricking is a good thing to me. It's a good thing,
But, Sebastian, this might not be his complete name either. And he's saying, yes, but he'll get to that at some other time. He's focusing on, he says, okay, here we go. He's saying, thought manifestation is powerful. The Cabal knows this. They know that you are truly not slaves to them. They want you to believe as such when you are not. Do not, or you truly will be. Meaning, don't believe you're a slave unless you truly want to be. And the Nephilim have said this before, too. When they came through in one of the shows, they've said this very same exact thing. And, okay, he's saying the Anunnaki are also here to help in this concern, but they will not show themselves like we will, meaning Sebastian and Tyler's people will show themselves eventually. The Anunnaki will hang back, as you say, until they are on an even keel, as you say, with your vibration. They would do more harm than good if they would appear. However, we, meaning the people of Lanulos, will extend our open hand to the people of humanity, in person and face to face. At this particular moment in time, that is not possible. But in 2 years and 3 months' time from this day, we will do so. So, be prepared for our homecoming, as you say. And let's see what else he has to say. He's saying, he said that's all he came to say tonight.
And Chris, a brief description of what they look like, so we can get prepared.
The people of Lanulos look very similar to one another. They're very tall. They're like 7.5 to 8 feet tall. And he's putting his thumb up, saying higher. I'm just going off Jerry's description. And also Sebastian and Tyler look very similar. They could be brothers. Sebastian has brown hair with he has some silver streaks through it though. And he has a very chiseled look. He's very in shape. And I would say if I had to judge his height, it would probably be 8.5 feet tall. And he's saying, yes, that's true. So 8'5", and he has a smooth facial features, no facial hair at all. Let me see if I see facial hair. Well, a little bit. I'm looking closer at his face, and he does have a little bit of a beard hanging down. He doesn't have a mustache, I don't see. He says he does grow one out from time to time. He's showing me how he looks with beard and everything. And but majority of the time you see them clean shaven, except for Merlin. He says he's joking about Merlin. He goes, "Oh, Merlin's a hippie. He grows a beard down to his feet." He's pointing to some of the common people on Lanulos. You'll see some cat people there, like Ashtar and a few others. He says Sekhmet shows up there from time to time. I've run into him too. And Sekhmet is a him. Sekhmet's been depicted as a female in history, but it's really male.
Well, 2 years and 3 months isn't very long. Time's been going fast, and it's even going to get faster.
Yeah, and he's agreeing. He's saying the time is now to. Oh, he's saying the time is now to forgive. The time is now to love. The time is now to live. And the time is now to learn from all that has come before you.
And the time is now to have faith and believe you're not a slave, right? And have faith.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Do you
exactly.
agree?
Yeah. He's saying yes, exactly. You are and never were or have been slaves. You are all free people of Earth. Act as such. he's saying. So
active such. Thank you.
active
Thank
such.
you.
And you must act.
Thank you for your time. And I want to.
The date is, that would be 2017, December 21st.
Oh, you figured it out. December 21st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2018.
That's the
We'll
solstice,
have to get
too.
an astrology report on that one. That'll be a special chart.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the solstice, too, so that's interesting. So,
right.
Of 2017. And he goes, yes, we planned it out that way. We know astrology, as can every human. That's how we tell time, is what he's saying. So
that confirms astrology that we hear from Cynthia, Marianne, and Mary every Monday and every other Thursday. They'll be on this Thursday. Confirms that we're on the right track with that too. So thank you there for that.
Yes, and also I just briefly heard Tyler in the background yelling to me. He goes, "I told you, time does not exist."
Right, it isn't.
And
it's in the now.
And Sebastian started laughing. I told him, I thought you said he was busy. He goes, he is. He just made time to do that and give me a hard time. So
well, get this, you two. Another time, you'll have to come back and excel. We're going to have a conversation about time, and so we can understand it more, so we can really believe it doesn't exist. That's a good conversation for another time.
Yes, and also he wanted to say, yeah, exactly, and he's laughing. There's also a message. Oh, this is a very interesting. Jerry will be happy to know that. If you also want to know what people from Lanulos look like, look up Jerry Wills. That's what they look like. And he's saying, okay, I'm asking if he really wants to say this on the air. He's like saying, he goes, he won't mind. I'm like, okay. He says a message to Tohannes. That's Jerry's first name from their world. Message to Tohannes: fear not, for your dreams of manifestation will come true. Play forever in peace and love. And not only do I say this to you, my brother of Lanulos, but I say this to my brothers of humanity on earth. Blessed be.
Beautiful.
So there's talk that there's going to be a huge crash in the next few months, and this is always predicted around this time of year anyway. But a lot of people are saying that due to other factors that they're expecting this. What is that going to look like, and is this going to happen, or what information could you share with us?
Okay, now they're speaking. The ones you call the Cabal or Illuminati will cause such a crash in order to instill fear in the populace. But there will be other things caused by us and other light beings around the universe to bring light to this. There will be parades, there will be cheering, there will be happiness in the areas of the world you call England, Russia, China, Australia, and the United States. This happiness will cancel out any fear-mongering, as you say, the Cabal wishes to instill. Now, time can also be undone as well as redone. So manifest this crash, as you call it, as good and not as negative, for it will not be negative unless you deem it so.
Thank you. Will there be any revaluation of different currencies throughout the world with this crash?
There will be no such thing as money after the crash. Money is no longer needed in the new paradigm, nor has it ever been.
And this will happen. Do you have any time frame when you're expecting this to happen? Or can you share that with us?
Yes, these details we can share. It will be in between the now and what you call full disclosure. Full disclosure will happen in 2 years and 3 months. This time frame is the time frame you call the solstice. And before then, money will be no more.
Interesting. Well, thank you. That's hard for us to conceptualize probably at this time. Will full disclosure look like, some people say that it will be the ET Alliance or the Galactic Federation or whatever you want to call the councils, that they'll come over computers and television sets and cell phones and show the people the truth. Is that information correct, or is that just a disinformation campaign from, the current power government?
Some of it is what you say, disinformation, but the good bulk, as you say, of the knowledge is true. But the first ones you will make contact with are not of alien origin at all. They will be of your own kind from out there in the stars. Humans from other worlds will be the first to show their face to humanity. Then others with more alien looks, as you would say, will show up. This actually has been changed from a more negative paradigm, where the ones you call the Greys were going to make first official contact and keep the Earth under their boot, as you would say. This timeline no longer exists. It will be a more positive outcome from this point forward.
Are you looking for healing or a change in your life to help you enjoy it more fully? You might benefit from a galactic energy reading and clearing from Chris Jacobs. Chris will work with you on a soul level to clear unseen negative influences, implants, programs, contracts, and energetic blocks. Chris Jacobs is a gifted energy healer. Contact him today at ChristopherStephenJacobs@gmail.com.